We've been conditioned to believe that love is earned through sacrifice, power is shown by control, and respect must be begged for. But true masculinity, rooted in Stoic wisdom and Machiavellian clarity, operates on an entirely different level. This isn't about manipulation or ego. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't chase because he knows he is the prize. The man who doesn't explain because his actions speak louder than validation. The man who builds his kingdom from the inside out and watches everything he needs flow toward him. In this video, you'll discover the psychological and philosophical principles that separate the 1% of men who lead from depth, presence, and purpose. If you've ever felt like you were giving too much and still not being seen, this is your turning point. Number 1. The high-value man needs no audience. What if I told you that real power begins when no one's watching, that the strongest man in the room is the one who isn't trying to prove anything, especially to her? We live in a world where men are constantly baited to perform, be impressive, be generous, be agreeable. And in the pursuit of being good enough, they forget the most critical thing, their center. The man of value doesn't need an audience to feel powerful. He doesn't chase validation in her eyes. He doesn't collapse into apology when she pulls away. He remains still rooted in his purpose while the world spins around him. Imagine two men. Both just had an argument with the woman they're dating. One sends 3 texts, then calls, then apologizes for things he never did just to win her back. The other, he says one thing, calm, direct, firm, and lets the silence speak for itself. Hours pass, days maybe, and eventually, it's her that reaches back. Why? Because the first man chased. The second man stood still and became the mystery. This is the difference between reaction and presence, between performance and power. The first man depends on her emotional reaction to feel secure. The second man already is. And this is what Stoic philosophy teaches us. That real strength is not in controlling others, but in mastering the only thing that matters, your own mind. Epictetus said it clearly. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. When you try to control a woman's attention, you enslave yourself to her response. When you let go and focus on self-mastery, your freedom becomes your magnetism. Because women don't fall for noise. They fall for depth, for stillness, for the man who doesn't flinch under emotional pressure. Machiavelli warned that the man who reveals too much emotional dependence becomes weak in perception even if his actions are well-intentioned. The one who holds back, who watches, who responds instead of reacts, he commands quiet authority. In love, this is how dominance is earned, not through intimidation or control, but through discipline. Let's go deeper. When a woman uses silence after a disagreement, most men panic. They rush to fix it, fearing that the connection is slipping away. But a high-value man does something radical. Nothing. He knows that if the bond was real, it doesn't need to be chased. And if it wasn't, no amount of chasing can make it so. This is not indifference. This is sovereignty. A man who is not seduced by the highs and lows of emotional games is not cold. He's clear. He doesn't punish. He doesn't retreat. He simply stands at the center of his own emotional kingdom. From that place, he chooses when to speak, when to hold silence, when to stay, when to walk. The irony, this stillness, this absence of need, is the very thing that draws women in, because when she can't shake you with silence, when you don't rush to prove yourself, she starts to wonder, who is this man who doesn't bend for me? And just like that, her attention is no longer something you chase, it's something you attract, not through effort, but through essence. Marcus Aurelius taught that the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. In modern love, the best response is not to play her games, it's to rise above them entirely. Be the man who doesn't chase her moods. Be the man who doesn't beg for access to her emotions. Be the man who stands so firmly in his values. She has no choice but to respect you or leave. And if she leaves, let her. Because a man who values his peace more than temporary pleasure will always come out stronger. So next time you're faced with a test, her silence, her guilt, her pulling away, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, am I acting from self-mastery or self-abandonment? And then choose the former every single time, because that's what the 1% of men do. Not perform, not plead, but protect their presence like a fortress, only opening the gates for those who've earned it. Now, speak out and comment below. I need no audience. I build my power in silence. Number 2. 5 Machiavellian Rules for Emotional Sovereignty. Power isn't seized by accident. In the game of connection, especially with women, those who rise are not the loudest, the richest, or the most charming. They're the most composed, the ones who move with strategy, not sentiment. And no thinker understood this better than Niccolò Machiavelli. He didn't teach manipulation, he taught sovereignty, how to move through complex dynamics without being swallowed by them. Today, we're going to apply 5 of his most potent principles to the emotional battlefield where most men falter. Relationships, because if you don't have a strategy, you'll become hers. Rule 1, speak less, watch more. In moments of tension, the average man overshares. He explains, he justifies, he talks himself into weakness. But a man of value, he listens like a mirror, quiet, clear, unreadable. Why? Because as Machiavelli said, the impulsive man becomes predictable, and predictable men are easy to control. When she pulls back emotionally, when she tests your patience with silence or sarcasm, your silence is your strength. It signals one message: I am not moved by chaos. And that stillness forces her to fill the space with questions, curiosity, regret. Rule 2. Control the frame or be trapped inside hers. In every conversation, one of 2 people defines reality. If you let her steer the frame, what's true, what's good, what's acceptable, you become the follower, and she will test this. Why are you acting distant, or you always shut down? If you start defending, you're already losing. Instead, stay grounded. When she accuses you of pulling away, you say calmly, I take time to think before reacting. When she questions your feelings, you respond with presence, not panic. This resets the frame. She starts seeing you as a man with direction, not a man chasing her interpretation. Rule 3. Win her mind before you win her heart. Most men try to impress emotionally before they've understood psychologically. They offer flowers, reassurance, vulnerability without ever learning what she truly respects. And here's the hard truth. A woman can feel touched but not led, admired but not guided. You must understand her belief system before investing deeply. Does she value consistency, or is she addicted to drama? Does she see masculine leadership as strength, or label it controlling? A Machiavellian man studies patterns, not just words. Only when you win her respect through clarity of mind will her heart follow. Rule 4. See through her mask without triggering the guard. Confidence, detachment, humor. These can be shields. Every woman wears a mask at times, not out of deceit, but out of fear. The wrong man tries to tear it off. The wise man, he sees through it and waits. When she says, do whatever you want, the average man argues. The sovereign man hears the fear in her voice and says calmly, I want clarity, not conflict. He doesn't force emotion, he invites it. And in that safe space, her defenses soften. Why? Because he didn't challenge her ego, he spoke to the part behind it. Rule 5. Become the mystery. She can't decode. You don't owe her a blueprint of your mind. When every action is explained, every thought expressed, you lose your depth. Predictability is security. Mystery is magnetism. When you become slightly elusive, not from games, but from inner fullness, you create space. Space she wants to fill, space she dreams about when you're gone. Let her wonder what you're thinking. Let her guess where she stands. And never be afraid of not being fully known, because the man who keeps a quiet secret world within himself becomes unforgettable. These rules are not tools of cruelty, they're codes of power. power to remain unshaken, power to be clear, power to walk away with peace instead of groveling for comfort. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both, but in love. When you walk with silence, strength, and self-respect, you earn both not through force, but through presence." Remember, emotional dominance is not control. It's not about bending her. It's about not being bent by her. The moment you stop reacting to every emotion, every test, every silence, you become sovereign. She won't always understand it, but she will feel it, and that feeling will haunt her in the best way. Now, speak out and comment below. I don't chase power, I embody it in silence. Number 3, real power is not control, it's clarity. Most men think power comes from doing more texts, more explanations, more emotional expression, but real power doesn't come from doing, it comes from being, from stillness, from clarity. The high-value man doesn't fight for control, he stands so firmly in his truth that no one dares to pull him off balance. Let's be clear, clarity is not dominance, it's not loud. It doesn't need to raise its voice, it doesn't need validation. Clarity is silent strength. It's knowing who you are and refusing to let anyone, especially a woman's shifting moods or games, define you. Imagine this. A woman starts playing hot and cold. One day she's sweet, the next day she pulls away. Most men panic. They try harder. They beg for clarity. But a sovereign man doesn't chase answers. He is the answer. He knows what he brings. If she's unclear, that's her internal noise, not his failure. This is why Machiavelli stressed perception. Power isn't just about truth, it's about how truth is perceived. A man who needs to explain himself often ends up looking guilty, insecure, or weak. A man who holds his tongue and lets his presence speak, he becomes undeniable. Clarity also means knowing your standards and standing by them even when they cost you something, especially when they cost you something. If you say, "I don't tolerate disrespect," and then let her sarcasm slide, you're not clear. If you say, "I value my time," and then rearrange your entire schedule because she's suddenly free, you're not clear. Women don't follow men who say the right things. They follow men who live them. From a Stoic perspective, this is the essence of self-rule. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." If your ambition is to be liked, you will sacrifice your clarity for comfort. But if your ambition is mastery of yourself, your emotions, your path, then clarity becomes your greatest shield. In relationships, this clarity shows up in quiet ways. You don't rush to fix her emotions. You don't apologize for your boundaries. You don't explain why you're not texting back immediately. You move slowly, intentionally, and always from purpose. Here's the irony. The less you try to control her, the more she feels magnetized toward you. Because when a man operates from peace instead of pressure, from grounded presence instead of desperation, he becomes the calm in her emotional storm. Women will test this, not to destroy you, but to find out if your foundation is real. She'll go quiet. She'll ask passive-aggressive questions. She'll try to pull you into reaction. But a man of clarity doesn't flinch. He listens, he reflects, and when he speaks, his words land like anchors, solid, immovable, unforgettable. This doesn't mean you're unfeeling. Stoicism doesn't mean coldness, it means conscious direction. You feel, but you don't flail. You care, but you don't collapse. You respond, but you don't react. It's why Jung emphasized individuation, becoming a whole self. Not dependent on external affirmation. A woman should complement your life, not complete it. You are not half a soul searching for its other half. You are a man walking his path. She can walk beside you, but you do not bend your road for her detours. Clarity is this: I know who I am, I know what I stand for, and I do not negotiate my values to be more liked. In fact, it is this very posture that makes you respected and desired. So the next time you feel pulled to explain, to fix, to soften your truth, pause. Ask yourself, am I moving from power or from fear? Am I acting from clarity or craving control? When your boundaries are clear, your heart is calm. When your presence is full, your words can be few. And when your path is yours, not hers, you become unshakable. Now, speak out and comment below. Clarity is my power. I don't explain what I embody. Number 4. Love without leash. The masculine way to choose. Love, when it's real, doesn't chain a man, it frees him. But modern relationships often confuse love with loyalty tests, sacrifice with submission, and presence with proof. That's not love, that's leash work, and a high-value man doesn't wear a collar. He chooses love as a sovereign act, not an emotional obligation. This is where most men break. They fall in love and lose themselves. They trade their path for her approval. They give up purpose for peace. They think sacrifice will earn them affection. But love given from insecurity creates resentment. Love must come from overflow, not emptiness. A sovereign man loves without needing. He chooses. He doesn't chase. And because he doesn't need her to validate him, his love carries weight. It's not a desperate pull, it's a grounded offering, as Machiavelli taught. He who seeks to be loved at all costs becomes dispensable. When a man places his value in another's hands, he's already lost. The moment you need her to see you a certain way, you've handed her your frame. True love honors freedom, not emotional debt. This is why Stoicism and love, though rarely paired, actually belong together. The Stoic man doesn't suppress his emotions, he refines them. He doesn't withdraw from love, he purifies it. He says, I will love you, but not lose myself in you. I will open my heart, but I will not surrender my purpose. When you love from wholeness, you're no longer terrified of losing her. Why? Because you were never seeking completion. Only connection, and connection, for a man of depth, is chosen, not begged for. In relationships, this looks like saying no when something crosses your boundaries, even if she's upset. Pursuing your mission even when she craves your attention. Speaking the truth, kindly but firmly, even when it risks emotional friction. This love doesn't scream or beg or explain itself. It simply exists strong, still, and unyielding. And the paradox: the more you embody this masculine clarity, the more she relaxes into her feminine energy, because she can feel you're not trying to win her, you're just being yourself. Real love isn't about pleasing, it's about choosing. And every time you love without needing, every time you hold her without holding on too tightly, she feels it. She feels the difference between attention and devotion, between obsession and grounded connection. Let's be clear, this is not about withholding love. It's about giving it from the right place, a place of centeredness, not scarcity. Because when you love from fullness, even if she leaves, you remain whole. Jung called this integrated masculinity, when the man knows his shadow, honors his values, and loves with clarity, not chaos. In this space, love becomes sacred, not strategic. So next time love calls, ask yourself, am I giving her my soul or offering her my presence? Am I building with her or abandoning myself for her? When a man chooses love without leashing his identity, she feels it, she respects it, and if she's worthy, she'll rise to meet it. Now, comment below, I love with presence, not permission. Number 5. Build the kingdom within the true source of attraction. The final truth is this: a man does not attract from what he gives to others. He attracts from what he builds within himself. In a world of noise, where attention is currency and performance is mistaken for power, there's a rare kind of man who moves differently. He's not looking to impress. He's not playing games. He's too busy building his kingdom, his inner world of discipline, mission, and peace. And that's what draws people in. Most men chase validation. They optimize for likes, approval, or fleeting attention. But a high-value man, he optimizes for sovereignty. He asks, is this in alignment with the man I'm becoming? If the answer is no, he lets it go, even if it means letting her go. Because he understands something simple yet profound. Attention is a byproduct of presence, and presence is built from inner order. Machiavelli taught that the wise ruler secures his kingdom before expanding his reach. This applies to love. If your mind is chaotic, your goals vague, your standards weak, then your relationships will mirror that. She won't feel safe with you, not because you're unkind, but because you're unstable. But when your life is structured, not rigid, but intentional, she feels it. She may not know why she's drawn to you, but something about you calms her. That something is your unshakable alignment with yourself. You don't get that by chasing her. You get that by chasing purpose, by making your mornings sacred, your workouts non-negotiable, your word unbreakable. This is what Jung called individuation, becoming whole. When you stop trying to complete yourself through women, and instead let women complement your already whole self. You stop being reactive. You become magnetic. Stoicism calls this arete, excellence of character. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. That's the essence. Don't explain your value, embody it." And the result, you no longer fear rejection, because your value doesn't come from her response, it comes from your path. You don't overreact to silence, disrespect, or distance. You recognize it for what it is, a test of your frame. And instead of scrambling to prove yourself, you simply return to your mission, because the real prize was never her attention. It was becoming the man you respect when no one is watching. This doesn't mean you close your heart. It means you protect your peace. You invite love in, but you never abandon your kingdom to keep it. You let her see your warmth, but you never sacrifice your fire. So what does this look like in real life? It means setting boundaries, even when you feel alone. It means saying no to drama so you can say yes to clarity. It means building a life so rich in purpose that love becomes the cherry on top, not the entire meal. And yes, that kind of man is rare, but that's exactly why he's irresistible. Because in a world of noise, he is signal. In a sea of neediness, he stands in abundance. So if you want to become unforgettable, don't chase what's outside. Turn inward, build the kingdom, keep your standards sharp, your energy clean, and your path sacred. Because when a man owns himself fully, quietly, unapologetically, he becomes the kind of man no woman forgets. Now, comment below. I build my kingdom before I invite anyone in. A high-value man doesn't scream his worth, he lives it. He doesn't try to control others, he masters himself. He doesn't trade his peace for attention, he lets his presence command the room. And love. It's not a leash. It's a conscious choice he makes when it aligns with his path. You don't need to become someone else. You need to return to who you were before the world convinced you to seek approval. Reclaim your silence. Reclaim your clarity. Reclaim your kingdom. Now speak out and comment below. I build my kingdom before I invite anyone in.